Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of my most anticipated releases for 2021. I have 40 books to talk through. I tried to narrow it down, but I just kind of wanted to talk about them all. Most of these are releasing in the first half of the year because we only really have the release dates for those yet. Late on in the year, we tend to get them at the start of 2021. We have a rough idea of a few that are coming out late 2021, but I decided not to include those. I love talking about books that I'm really excited for them to come out. I have a bullet journal spread every year of my most anticipated releases and I try and read all of them. Last year I did 2020. I don't think I read every single one, but I attempted to read every single one. As there are 40 books to talk through, I'm just going to dive straight in. If there's a cover for the book, I'll put it here. I'll also put the release date here somewhere. This is going to take a lot to edit, but I'm just going to go for it. Some of these I have already read. I've been lucky enough to get early copies of them, but I'll kind of mention that if I have. I'm also going to briefly talk about a sentence about why I'm interested in it with each book. This list is going to be in chronological order, starting in January. The first book is The Henna Wars by Adiba Jagadar. Sorry if I've said that wrong. I've already read this. It came out in ebook in October in the UK. The physical copy comes out January 7th in the UK. This is a sapphic enemies to lovers Bangladeshi romance and it was great. The next book also comes out on January 7th and that is First Day of My Life by Lisa Williamson. This is a UK YA story following 3 different people with a stolen baby and a big mystery. I have also already read this and it was pretty great. The next book comes out January 12th and that is Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. This is the prequel to The Hate U Give and it follows Star's dad, Maverick, in the early 90s, I believe. Then I have Across the Green Grass Fields by Shauna Maguire, which also comes out January 12th. This is the 5th book, or the 6th book, in the Wayward Children series. I love this series, especially via audiobook. Next on January 31st, we have Love is a Revolution by Renee Watson. This is a YA romance book about activism and political correctness. I've already read this book and I really loved it. Next on February 2nd, we have Make Up Breakup by Lily Menon. This is Sandia Menon's adult romance debut. I love adult romance books. I loved her YA book, so I'm very excited to see her adult book. Next on February 9th, we have The Gilded Ones by Namina Fauna. I have also already read this one. This is a black YA fantasy about demon women, and it's honestly amazing. It's one of the best fantasy books I've ever read. Next on February 16th, we have First Comes Like by Alicia Rai. This is the 3rd book in the Modern Love series. I really enjoy this adult romance series, so I'm really excited for the 3rd book. Next, on February 23rd, we have Love is for Losers by Wibke Brueggemann. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. This is a YA sex-positive queer romance, and it just sounds great, and I'm very excited for it. Then on March 2nd, we have my most anticipated release for next year, and that is Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare, which is a sequel to Chain of Gold. I love the Shadowhunter world. I love Chain of Gold. It was my favourite book of 2020 so far, and I'm really excited for the sequel. Also on March 2nd, we have Bridge of Souls by V.E. Schwab. This is the 3rd book in the Cassidy Blake series. It's a middle grade series. It's the only V.E. Schwab series I really like, so I'm excited to see where this next goes. On March 9th, we have Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez, which is a bisexual book by the author of Only Mostly Devastated, which I really liked. Also on March 9th, we have At Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, which is the 3rd book in the adult romance series, and I really, really love this series. It follows these 3 sisters, and I'm really excited for Eve's story. And then on March 30th, we have Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo, which is a sequel to King of Scars. I really love the Grishaverse. I'm excited to see where this series goes next. And then on April 6th, I have Twice Shy by Sarah Hogel, who is the author of You Deserve Each Other, my 2nd favourite book of this year, my favourite adult romance. I love this, so I'm really excited for her 2nd book. Similarly, on April 6th, I also have The Intimacy Experiment by Rosie Danan, which is the 2nd book by the author of The Roommate, which is another one of my favourite adult romances of this year. On April 6th, I also have Zara Hussein is Here by Sabina Khan, who is the author of The Love and Lies of Rukhsana Ali. This book follows a Pakistani character and it's about Islamophobia, and I'm really excited for it. On April 13th, I have Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne, who is the author of The Hating Game, which is my favourite adult romance of all time. I'm somewhat excited for this, but somewhat not, because I love The Hating Game, but I hated her 2nd book, 99% Mine, so I'm hoping this one I really love, and I'm hoping it's not like 99% Mine. Then on April 20th, I have Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertalli. This is a bisexual book about theatre, high school theatre, and I'm really excited for it because she says it's the book that's closest to her as a person, and I'm really, really excited for it. Next on May 4th, I have The Heart Principle by Helen Huang, which is the 3rd book in the Kiss Quotient series. This is another adult romance series that I really love. On May 4th, I also have Sunkissed by Casey West, which is another YA romance novel. I don't know anything about it, I just know it's by Casey West, and I read everything she writes, and I'm very excited for this. Also on May 4th, I have Counting Down With You by Tashi Buyan. Again, I'm sorry if I butchered that really badly. This is a fake dating Bangladeshi romance and I'm very, very excited about that. Next, on May 6th, I have Destination Anyway by Sarah Bernard. I'm really, really excited for this. She's one of my favourite UK YA authors. It was meant to come out in 2020. It didn't because of the pandemic. It's been pushed back till next year and I'm really excited for it. Speaking of UK YA, May is a great month for UK YA books, particularly May 13th, where I have 3 really anticipated UK YA novels. The first is Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman. I love the Heartstopper graphic novel series, it's one of my favourites. I cannot wait for Volume 4. Also on May 13th, I have Bookishly Ever After by Lucy Parry, which is the 3rd book in the Paper and Heart Society, another one of my favourite series. And then finally on May 13th, I have The Yearbook by Holly Bourne, who is one of my favourite UK YA authors. I don't know much about this, I just read her new books whenever they come out. And then on May 18th, I have The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren, again another one of my most anticipated releases, just because I really love their books. I don't know what this is about. I am kind of hit and miss with their books actually, more I think about it. Some I love, some I don't love as much, but I'm hoping this is going to be one I love. Then on May 18th, I also have Felix Ever After by Kaysen Calendar. This came out last year in the US, it's coming out next year in the UK. I'm really excited for this. It's the trans YA novel that everyone was talking about this year, so I'm excited to finally read it myself. Then on May 23rd, we have another Adiba Jagidira book, and that is Hani, An Issues Guide to Not Dating. I think it's Not Dating. This is a Bangladeshi female-female fake dating romance, and I'm very excited for that. And then on June 1st, I have An Emotion of Great Delights by Taha Amarfi. This is another contemporary novel by her. I loved her first contemporary novel, which was A Very Large Expanse of Sea. I'm very excited for this. It sounds very, very similar to her first one, so I'm hoping there's quite a bit of difference and it's not just the exact same book again, but I'm really excited for it. Next on June 8th, I have Love and Other Natural Disasters by Misa Sugiura. This is the author of This Time Will Be Different, which I read last year, and I didn't love it, but I thought it was just the book itself, but I really loved her writing, so I thought I would read any of her forthcoming books, and this one sounds like it's going to be great. Next on June 8th, I have Of Princes and Promises by Sandhya Menon. This is the sequel to Of Curses and Kisses, which I read earlier this year. I think it was the first book I read this year. I somewhat enjoyed this, but I'm excited to see where the series goes because it's a companion novel and not a direct sequel. Then on June 10th, I have a book I've already read, and that is Afterlove by Tanya Byrne. This is a female-female romance that focuses on the afterlife. It was a really interesting concept. I love the way it talked about afterlife. Also, this cover is stunning. Everyone should read this book when it comes out next year. On June 10th, I also have Ace of Spades by Farida Abik Ayamid. I'm really sorry if I said that wrong. This is described as a YA Gossip Girl meets Get Out, and I really love that. I spent a week at Osborne last year and we talked about this book quite a lot, and I really love the concept behind it. And then on July 6th, I have Any Way the Wind Blows by Rainbow Rowell. This is the 3rd book in the Simon Snow series. I really loved Carry On. I wasn't a huge fan of Wayward Son as much, but I'm excited to see how the trilogy ends. Also on July 6th, I have Rise to the Sun by Leah Johnson. This is her 2nd novel after You Should See Me in a Crown, which I read earlier this year and loved. This is another female-female black YA romance, and I love that. We need more of these, and we're getting a lot of them. Then on July 13th, I have Radha and Jay's Recipe for Romance by Nisha Sharma. This is her 2nd YA novel after My So-Called Bollywood Life. I love her books. They're very full of Bollywood and YA romance, and I love that. Also in July, we have a new book by Yasmin Rahman. This hasn't been officially announced, I think. It's just on Amazon, and it's available to buy via Amazon. And I'm really excited for this because I love her first book, and I like her as a person. I know that I said I wouldn't talk about books that didn't have a specific release date, however, I want to mention Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, which comes out in September. It's not a specific date yet. This is her first adult novel series that is not the Shadowhunter world, shockingly. It's an adult fantasy series and I'm really excited for it to see what she does on her own. And then I also want to mention Fangirl Volume 2, the manga adaptation, because I'm hoping it comes out next year because I loved Volume 1. So yeah, those are my most anticipated releases for next year. Are there any releases that you're really excited for that I've missed out? Let me know down below because it's quite possible I've forgotten a few. I tried to look at many different sources, but I probably have forgotten 1 or 2 here and there that I'm really excited for. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in my next one.